Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, where I have and Get Up and Grow, where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world by contributing back with knowledge, by contributing back by creating things that are helping humanity and helping people become the best versions of themselves, overcome limitations, overcome challenges. Today, I'm excited to bring someone to you that I met a few months ago at an event called Unblinded by a friend, Sean Callaghy, who happens to be blind. First, I'll just tell you a little bit about Nate. So Nate is the founder of Vibravision Foundation, which trains blind and sighted people how to detect their environment using intuition and multisensory abilities without the use of eyesight. He is dedicated to providing blind students with financial aid to learn the skill, advancing scientific and neurological research, and redefining blindness as we know it. So basically, they brought this to America 20 years ago, both Nate and his brother Mike. What Vibravision is, and we're going to have him explain a little bit more. It's a non-visual skill that trains people how to detect their environment using intuition and neural repatterning and other mental sensory abilities without the use of eyesight. And this is something that's been used in Indonesia for decades by blind people and the Indonesian Special Forces. But I'm not going to go into any more of that. I'm going to bring Nate on to explain that to us because, again, this is such a powerful thing. Nate, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. So good to have you here. And I know that we had spoken about bringing you on the show already for weeks. And then today it finally happened. So I'm happy to have you on here. And before we even go any further, and I just want to say thank you for this. You're like exactly who I want to bring on because this is changing the lives of so many people. So with that said, Nate, tell us a little bit about you before going into that. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're at right now in the world, and how you came to be, and the story of how you created all this. So, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Tony, brother. I appreciate being here. It's truly an honor. It's been a while to get to this stage. So, to everybody out there, hi, my name is Nate Zeleznick, and I'm a local from Huntsville, Utah, small town of Huntsville, Utah, and I've lived here for 44 years, and now. Well, I've traveled all over the world, but the mountains is where I call home for right now. So I have been involved in martial arts and meditation and spirituality for the larger period of my life, especially martial arts. You know, when I was little, I saw ninja movies and I wanted to be a ninja. And then I saw Star Wars and of course I wanted to be a Jedi. But of course, living in a small town, you don't really have a lot of options for, well, the ninja training and definitely not the Jedi training. And so that was something as I grew up and I trained in the martial arts a lot and I really got into deep meditative and spiritual and energy work practices. I was always looking for something a little bit more. So just to tell you as far as where I'm at, what we're doing here with our Vibravision Foundation, with training blind people, and also in martial arts, family martial arts, women's self-protection, and internal energy martial arts. We run a full gamut of different programs to suit different people in their lives and what they're looking for. So what brought me to this point? Well, if I could just share a little bit of the story of how I discovered this very unique art called Merpati Putih, which that means white dove in the Indonesian language, which the Vibravision is part of that. It's one of the aspects of the Merpati Putih system. I've always been a very big believer in well, there are no coincidences. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is there as a learning lesson. And well, in 1998, I ordered a VHS cassette from Indonesia that showed, well, it was a guaranteed inner power in 2 weeks for your money back kind of course with like a 5-page pamphlet of here, do this and you're going to have amazing chi in 2 weeks. And I thought, I'm American. I want this fast. I don't want to go to a monastery or a cave and live there for decades and sequester myself to have chi, but I really want it. I want to be that Jedi. I want to be that ninja. So I got the VHS tape. And I watched it with my brother Mike, and we knew where Indonesia was, and we'd been involved in martial arts for a long time, especially him. He holds numerous black belts in other arts besides what we do. we'd never seen anything like it. It was just blew our minds, some of the things that they were doing. But there was one kind of demonstration that really stuck out as, wow, never seen that one before. And that was people who were blindfolded or blind, who were running through obstacle courses and breaking big clay pots above their head, or they were riding bicycles through obstacles, or motorcycles through traffic. And if you've ever been to Southeast Asia, you know their traffic is, well, we don't have anything that really compares in the United States.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? And it even had some military members shooting targets with rifles. And then it showed blind people who were able to read printed material without touching it. And so that was just blew my mind. But first thing came up, it's got to be a trick. This is BS. There's no, I saw David Copperfield make the Statue of Liberty disappear. This isn't real, but it's a nice trick. Well, like I said, no accidents. So the very next day after we watched that a few times, right? Because you see something like that, you gotta watch it more than once. I'm sitting there, stopped at a stoplight right next to the Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind. And there's a blind individual with their guide dog at the corner. And their guide dog went around the corner, went around the, the light pole, and the blind person went with their forehead right into the light, into the pole. And it hit me like, it was like a divine inspiration. Bing, hey, I wonder if those Indonesian people do anything to help blind people. Well, the whole news broadcast on the tape was in Indonesian, so I don't speak Indonesian. I didn't understand any of it. But I was determined to find out because I knew this had happened for a reason. So the next day I went to the Weber County Library here, and I spent the next 2 weeks trying to track down who was on that broadcast. And I found him. And one of the most difficult parts was finding somebody there that spoke English. But once I did, I asked them, so can you help blind people? And they're like, oh yeah, we have a foundation for blind people over here. And we train the Indonesia's most elite special forces in this to use in place of night vision or as an addition to night vision technology. And I'm just like, really? Okay, I've got to know more. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I arranged to bring over the very first demonstration team that had been to the United States to show this. And they came over in 1999. And, you know, they had never trained a Westerner before, or a non-Indonesian, actually. It was a cultural heritage for the Indonesian royal family until 1963, when they had a big civil unrest, coup d'etat situation. And they released this knowledge, the martial arts and the internal energy and the meditation, to the Indonesian public, but no one else until me. And so I met these Indonesian people at the airport, and I was given permission to become the first non-Indonesian to learn it, which is a huge honor, right? Because you're like, wow, this is amazing. But about 2 weeks later, they allowed my brother Mike to train, but that's another story. What really impressed me and blew my mind right off the bat was they had two blind gentlemen with them, and their eyes, I mean, whether it was glaucoma or some other condition, you could tell they didn't have pupils, and they were blind from a very young age, and you would never know it at all. You would never know it. So when we got back to my place, I actually hosted them at my house. These blind guys walked in, they put all their stuff away, they knew where everything was, they came and cooked us all dinner. They knew right where the pots and pans and everything was. They cooked us dinner, and then we started asking them questions like, what's on the screen of the TV? And they'd tell us what's on the TV. And I mean, it's like a bell. Once you ring it, you can't unring it. And it really impressed upon Mike and I both that we had come across something that was of significant value to humanity. And even though it had been kept a secret, well, there was a reason that they were here, because they'd been looking for an American representative, but they hadn't been able to find anyone. So as pie in the sky young gentlemen, we decided we were going to change the world, and we took up that mantle. But who's going to train us, right? This is an obscure art, and it turns out there were 3 trainers in the US that could actually do this. One was at the Washington, D.C., the embassy, the Indonesian embassy in Washington, D.C. The second one was in either San Francisco or L.A. I'm not quite sure. It's been 20 years, at the Consulate General's office. And the third guy just happened to be getting his postdoctoral master's degree at the University of Utah, about 35 miles away. Yeah, what are the chances, right? And so, no accidents.
No accident.
Once we did our demonstrations here for the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind, and doing news broadcasts, and then actually I got the chance to go to the Indonesian embassy and meet the ambassador and his wife, and they did a demonstration there. It was a couple days after I got back, our training started, and it was unlike anything we had ever experienced before by light years. I'm not going to say by a mile, I'm talking light years. And we weren't allowed to learn Vibravision, though. We were allowed to learn the martial arts, the energy work, the breath technology, and the meditations. And then in 2001, we were honored to bring the two living 11th generation heirs, the royal heirs to this art, to Little Huntsville, Utah. And they tested us, they inaugurated us, and they allowed us to open the very first foreign branch of the Merpati Putih, or White Dove system. Now, we then traveled to Indonesia because we wanted to learn about the Vibravision. And, when you see a whole team, like I'm going to say a team of blind people, blind children, who can walk through obstacles, they can tell you what your shirt says, they can do anything that you or I can do with our eyesight.
Wow.
There's a reason that Mike and I, for 20 years, have gotten up every single morning. And as entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, people understand it takes a lot of conviction to be self-employed and to keep going, even when nobody believes in what you're doing, or a lot of people won't, because it's so far beyond their ability to conceive. But, seeing these blind individuals do these things just cemented for us that every single day when we wake up, how can I make this world a better place? I have something that nobody can do everything, but here is something that I can do. And I will not refuse to do this. And so now we're in a much different place where we have a team of blind people from Phoenix, Arizona, some amazing individuals that we call the Phoenix crew, because they're from Phoenix, but they actually name themselves the Phoenix crew because they're like the Phoenix rising out of the ashes. And they travel up here to learn this. And my brother Mike goes down there to train them, and they're doing amazingly well. And
that's amazing. So
just,
listen, good on you. And it's funny. This plays out like a movie, right? Or like a book. First you have to learn, the basics. You have to learn the art. You have to learn the technique. And then if you're worthy, then we'll teach you the Vibravision, right? So it's kind of a fascinating story on its own. So obviously you went and you learned the Vibravision, right? You learned how to do that. I think it's fascinating. To be honest with you, it's like magic. It's like how. So and it's groundbreaking technology that's been centuries in the making, right? That's been going on for centuries, but kept secret. And this little thing, and to be honest with you, it's still kept secret. Really, Vibravision should be all over the country. People should have it, should have access to it. It's like you said, it's like you're a Jedi, right? Yeah. You're a ninja and a Jedi all together at the same time. So how long does it take to train someone? What's the process? Or do you have to take somebody through the whole martial arts and then go through that? Or is it, what's the process like? I mean, I'm just curious.
Great question, Tony. Okay, so traditionally the way that this always worked is if you were blind, you could learn it right off the bat, but no martial arts, because you didn't need martial arts. You needed this rehabilitation technology and this multi-sensory ability. But if you had sight, you had to go through between usually 4 to 6 years of the martial arts training, breaking steel, breaking stone, I've never even heard of a martial art that is as intensive as Merpati Putih is. It gets great results, but it's not easy at all. But then after 4 to 6 years, you could learn the Vibravision if your instructor knew it. That not every instructor did. So Now we've changed things. Now it's the 21st century, and this is for humanity. This is not just for those people who can run the gauntlet of fire to be able to learn this. So Mike and I decided, with some very good business advisors and good friends of ours who are also very involved in the meditation and energy work space, that we were going to start offering immersions. So people can come, and it's like a gym, right? So let's say you have a whole gym full of equipment at home, but you don't know how to use it. Well, if you go to a personal trainer for a week, they're going to teach you how to use all the equipment. Then you can go back home and you can use your equipment, because some people want to do what they see in our videos right off the bat, right? In 2 days, they want to be able to drive cars, ride bikes, play laser tag, use their lightsaber and block bean bags, read with their eyes taped shut and a blindfold on or in a darkened room. But they don't understand that if you want to bench press 400 pounds, it's not because you just learned how to use the barbell. You have to do that over time. But if you don't have a barbell, how are you going to do that? If you don't know how to use the equipment.
Hold on a second. Hold on. You're saying that you can actually drive with Vibravision?
Oh, we have people that, well, we don't do it on the road. Okay. I want to make sure that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually was on the back of a motorcycle with a blind gentleman, and we were going in between the cars in Jakarta traffic at 50 miles an hour.
That, my friend, is blind faith, because I had a friend of mine come over to my house, and he stayed over. He's actually an Olympian in swimming, a gold medal Olympian. And, I had asked him what he wanted to do that he's never done. And he's like, I don't know. I says, you ever ride a quad? He says, no. I says, do you want to? He's like, yeah, but I'm not going to put a blind guy in the quad and let him have at it. So I was behind him, just, holding on to his shoulders and like pushing so that, tell him slow down, speed up. And I'll tell you, he's like, when we're done, he's like, how was that for you? It was great, but it was scary. I'm like, how do you think I felt?
Yeah, right?
Completely out of control. So being on the back of a motorcycle, weaving in and out of traffic in Indonesia, that's with a blind guy at the wheel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. So, I mean, I'm so excited to be listening to this story, because we've obviously spoken before, but I never got the full detail of it. So I'm fascinated. Please continue.
Well,
by the way, anyone, Liba and Chris and Michael, whoever's watching, feel free to share this video, ask questions, make comments. Of course, as you know, this is not just a conversation with Nate and myself, but it's also a conversation with all of you. We are also streaming on YouTube, so feel free to share this out with anyone that you think could benefit from this, which honestly, just the story itself is freaking fascinating. I think everyone can benefit from it, but certainly people who are visually impaired, which, we know so many, especially now being connected with the unblinded community and Sean Callaghan and so many of those folks, great folks. So with that said, please continue, because again, I'm fascinated.
Well, in Indonesia, they don't really have an issue with people who are blindfolded or blind driving. They actually, a few years ago, they had a whole team of Vibravision experts, including the blind person that I rode on the back of the motorcycle with. He was like the spearhead of the entire convoy that drove from a city called Bogor, Indonesia, to Jakarta. And they were all blindfolded, and they were monitored by representatives from the Guinness Book of World Records, as well as the Indonesian Museum of Records. So they had people in Jeeps that were right by them. These people had their eyes taped closed and hoods on, and they all drove together as a convoy. And the blind guy, Mustafa, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, but he was the spearhead. He was the leader of going through traffic, and they didn't shut down the road. And this is pretty incredible. So with here, we've gotten permission to take I'll just call them the Vibravision Jedi Masters, to go drive go-karts and things like that, and then play laser tag and video games, and to show that this is actually something, in the space of meditation and mental expansion and consciousness, and so much variability in it. So one person might have a truly mystical experience where they experience the universe and God and oneness with all everything in the universe. Other people might become more connected to their heart. But with Vibravision, what we do is it's a reproducible method where it takes you from point A to point holy crap in a certain amount of time. And so now, instead of making people go through 4 to 6 years worth of this hard style, iron body type martial arts training. We allow people to come right in, and we do a background check, and it's proprietary knowledge. So of course, NDA and all that good stuff that we need to do to protect ourselves. But we allow people to come in and start right from the get-go, expanding more and understanding more about who they are. Like when I say who you are, I don't mean, well, my name's Nate Zeleznick, and I like long walks on the beach, and I actually have found my soulmate. I'm one of the few people that I know that actually can say that. It's beyond that, because we're just a little teeny weeny part of the larger whole that is us. So if you if you look at, I'm going to reference author Gary Zukov, who's one of Oprah's most cherished friends, been on Oprah many, many times. And he likens it to this, that your soul is like a water tower, your higher self is like a bucket, and the you that you know is like a cup. So we're experiencing the cup, and to be able to experience your bucket is, you'll never be the same again. And so that is a big part of our training, is getting in touch with the higher parts of ourselves. And when we say multi-sensory awareness, we think of our basic five senses, right? We think, but we have so much more that we can perceive with. We're a lot more than what we see. We're a lot more than what we hear and taste and smell and touch. So this is an opportunity for people who are logical. That's an important thing too, because I'm a very skeptical and very logical person. So it has to make sense. If it was woo-woo kind of ramalama ding-dong stuff, it wouldn't make sense to me at all. But this is based on the science of vibration. So it's more akin to quantum physics than it is to anything that's truly, say, spiritual.
So let's say that somebody is visually impaired and they want to go and visit you in Utah and take this training. Is it, obviously it's an immersive process. How many days or weeks or months, or how many sessions? What could that look like?
Very good. Very good. So right now what we're doing is we're doing 5-day immersive events where people come in, they learn the body postures, they learn the breathing techniques, the meditations, they learn the drills and skills that are necessary to be able to hone themselves in their gym, so to speak. But then we also have a lot of post-event support materials. One of the most comprehensive, if not the most comprehensive, guided meditation. Well, there are 89 different guided meditations with brainwave entrainment tracks in there to help people be able to follow along and train on a daily basis. It really does require a lot of training, but for people who are visually impaired, they're doing this all the time. They're always sending their awareness out there trying to perceive what's there. So why not just take it with this focus, right? And so we do 5-day immersive events right now. However, our big goal, and this is the main thing that I would like to impress upon everybody out there, especially if you're visually impaired. A lot of people take sometimes 3 months, sometimes a year to learn how to use a cane. And that is with vocational rehab from friends of mine that work at blind schools. That's a daily process, that they're training how to read Braille and how to live independently and how to use their cane. We have only been able to train blind people like one weekend a month for a while, and they have done so well, it's mind-boggling. But our big dream is to be able to, just like vocational rehab school, our training, to train blind people on a daily basis, every single day in this skill. And, say for instance, kids, when we train children in this, their mind just gets it.
They don't have any, I can't do that, I won't do that, I don't know. They don't have any filters, right? We perceive, all the crap that hell, remember when we were kids, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You can pretend, and you can do this, and you can do that, and you'd go out into the world, and then our creativity, gets, as we turn 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, we're being told no, and you can't do that, and our creativity goes to hell. Right. So whenever you work with children, I think it's so much easier, without a doubt. So, I mean, look, this is so fascinating to me right now. I'm not even kidding. That's why I'm like, where do you go from here? Let me ask you a question. Is this something, because obviously, never mind, so many things are going on in the world right now. We're not going to get into that, but is this a training? Because, for example, the person that I'm I'm talking about, which is that my buddy Enemed, who's the Olympic swimmer, and he's blind. Like he doesn't have retinitis pigmentosa. He doesn't have partial, but he's like blackout blind.
Yeah.
He lost his sight at 8, but yet he's still. I mean, like he climbs Mount Kilimanjaro. He's Iron Man. Like he does stuff anyway. So I want to introduce you to him, but he's in Spain. He's in. So is this something that could be done, or certainly training that could get started via Zoom? Not that it needs to be Zoom, obviously not for them, but for you. Is it something that could be done digitally like that, or is that something that's got to be done in person?
Well, that's actually something we're working on right now, because with COVID-19 and having businesses shut down and,
Renovating.
Yeah, the martial arts school that I run, there's something about martial arts having to be in proximity to people, because sparring involves contact with other people, and trapping, locking techniques, takedowns, things like that. It's kind of hard to do that in the air, but
they wreak havoc on your laptops too when you try to do it.
We've had a couple kids hit their cameras, and then we hear their parents, we'll just say, disapproval. But with that's something that we're working on right now. Since we've had to innovate with COVID and having to stay at home and shelter in place, we have been running our Vibravision classes remotely. However, the very basics of them, especially with people who are visually impaired, it does really require, especially with the body posturing and the things that we do, it does require us to actually manipulate their body. This is the proper posture. This is how you do this, and the breathing techniques exactly right. So it would be something at this point that we're still going to keep on site. However, we are working on expanding our international reach. And so right now we are working mainly with people in America, Canada, and Mexico, but we're looking forward to branching out, because there are, from what I've read, and maybe some people out there might correct me if I'm wrong, but what I read was there are 13 million people that are blind or have vision impairment in this country. And we have something like 175,000 veterans that are blind. So if we're able to take this to the blind community and to the veterans and the people with macular degeneration, as the baby boomers get older, as diabetes rises, we're having more and more people with vision difficulties. And it's our goal, it's our mission, it's our what I wake up for every single morning, is so that I can try to make the biggest difference I can with as many people as I can before I have the changing of address, at which we all experience at the end of our physical. So, I would.
I'm giddy. I'm kind of excited listening to this stuff, right? I mean, the possibilities, the possibilities are just so incredible for, like you said, for the veterans, for the children, for people who lose their vision. I mean, I don't know, I actually had a friend on when I had Enemed on here as a guest, and Dana, the veteran in the wheelchair. She actually asked him, would he prefer to be blind or quadriplegic? Which I thought was an interesting question, because she answered, I'd rather be a quadriplegic. And he says, he didn't give a clear answer right away. He says, well, I know what being blind is. I don't know what it's like to be a quadriplegic. So, how do you give one up and for the other? But the fact that you're able to give people a new sense of confidence and mobility, a new sense of freedom, a new sense of being, and I think, listen, dude, that's magic. And man, whatever I can do to help spread the word is certainly something that I'd be excited to be part of. And like I said, I'd love to connect you with Enemed, which would probably be a good connection, because he does, again, he's an Olympian. He was at, and this really sucks, for lack of a better way of saying it, but he qualified for the Tokyo Olympics again, which have now been canceled.
Yeah.
So, or at the very least postponed. But he's been like a madman, as all of the Olympians are, to show up. And unfortunately, that was canceled. But I think it's going to be a great introduction. I'm definitely going to put you guys together.
Fantastic.
It's so exciting, actually, to be honest. Again, I knew that what you were doing, but I didn't realize. I thought it was a technology-based application. That's what I really thought it was. I thought it was some kind of something, a wearable something.
Well, in a way, it is. It's human technology because, as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about neural repatterning and the way that we have, well, if we fire and wire new neural connections, we're going to create a different us. And so it is. We all have the hardware available for this, but we have software issues.
Right. No, listen, I don't mean it. Of course, it's technology that's inside. Listen, we are the perfect machine, the perfect computer. Despite all the bad crap that we do to it, it still keeps going, right? So we have so much untapped potential that it's scary. And this, I'm excited to just know more about it because holy cow, this is a whole nother level of untapped potential that you're able to teach people to tap into. But what I meant is I thought it was a wearable technology, kind of like a helmet or a shirt, or again, because I had told you that, with our other friend that has the wearable, I thought it had something to do with, something that allowed vibration. Anyway, I thought it was electrical technology, not human technology. So I'm even, again, like I said, mind blown. So next question, because Liba was already asking, how does that work? And you've already explained a little bit. Obviously, you can't go through it all, certainly between NDAs and everything else. But could a sighted person come and learn this as well? Absolutely. Or are you doing that for sighted people as well?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say hi, Liba. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Chris. Hi, Michael. Good to see you guys. All right. So first things first with this, I'd like to explain, if I could, just take maybe 5 minutes as far as what we've done up until this point scientifically and medically, because that's an important thing for a lot of people who are skeptical out there.
Please, this is fascinating.
Yeah, I was, we wanted to make sure that because we did this for the visually impaired community, but that we wanted to make sure we're not going to bring something that's completely woo-woo out there and we're going to try to charge any kind of money for blind people to learn this. That doesn't look good. So we wanted to make sure that we had scientific and medical documentation on this. And so what we've done over the past 5 years is we've gotten the endorsement and trained him. He's the president of the Utah Association of Naturopathic Physicians, and his daughter is going blind, and he's fascinated by this, and he loves it. And numerous optometrists, ophthalmic researchers from Johns Hopkins, and of course our Phoenix crew, our blind crew down in Arizona, who are incredible. And then I was just on the phone today with a neurologist that we've been working with, and he's one of the top neuroscientists he's not a neurologist, excuse me, he's a neuroscientist. He's one of the top brain mapping specialists on the planet. And he came last year twice and brain mapped our people, and he's never seen anything like it in over 23 years of mapping people's brains and over 4,000 scans. And so we were talking with him today. My brother actually was on the phone with him today about the results and getting those back so that we understand more. Joe Dispenza talks about it's not enough to know, it's time to know how. How does this work? And that's really been a big mission for us. So to get back to your question, yes, we do allow people who are not visually impaired to learn this. As a matter of fact, up until now, that's where we've kind of kept it for our pilot projects, because we can train larger groups of people at once in order to do this. So we've got 3 different immersion events, level 1 immersion events coming up in July and August for people who are sighted and also people who are blind, so that people who have vision can work with people who are blind, because you never learn more than when you teach. You never learn more. If you want to master something, learn it, do it, teach it. Teaching it is
so true.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, immersive events. And we've had people, last year we had an event, and one of the participants had been to over 50 different spiritual retreats, meditation retreats, healing retreats in 1 year. And the way that she put it is, this is next level. There's nothing like this in the world. It is the next level. And I'm just like, okay, I believe you, because I haven't been to 50 different things just in the past year. But that was her. That was the way that she perceived things. And we had such amazing results after just 5 days. Nobody who came in left as the same person. as far as their perception of themselves, of their abilities, of their surroundings. Everybody left improved and changed, and everybody who is trained with us, the same thing happens. Whether they can see without their eyes and drive go-karts and shoot targets or not, that's a small part of what this actually does. And it's a totally unique method. I've never seen anything like it. And it gives people a deeper window to their inside environment and also the universal and energetic environment. So I can't tell you exactly how it's done because it does require a lot of precise explanation, but the basic way of saying this is it helps us create a mental image based upon non-visual senses. So we can overlay a pattern in our head, kind of like if you've ever had a dream that was so realistic you knew it was real, like you could smell, you could see, you could hear. It's some of our demonstrators, some of our team, it's just like that. They close their eyes and they say it's exactly the same as I'm looking at you right now. Other people, it's more a sense of through their skin, like they can differentiate what is that sensation. That feels like red, that feels like yellow and blue, etc. Other people, it's an intuitive knowing that is so accurate that it's the same as if somebody just told them.
Well, it's funny. We have those modalities as well, right? We have we have the visual, people that are visual, people that are auditory, people that are kinesthetic, right? Yeah. So it's really what you're saying is the same exact thing with your eyes closed. That's amazing. Yeah. And listen, the whole thing is fascinating. For example, going back to my buddy Enemed, he came here 1 year, and then 2 years later he came back, and he was in my kitchen, and he was on the walls like, there was a painting here before. I said, yeah, there was. He's like, why? I noticed it wasn't there. I'm like, how did you notice it wasn't there? And he said, well, because I leaned up against the wall and I remembered that it was there and now it's not there. I said, you're right. We moved it. And I thought, even that's fascinating. 2 years later, he'd only been to my house once. I walk him around the house once and he never has to, he's not bumping into anything anymore because he learned the path, right? You show him the path and he mapped it. But this is next level. This is you're actually able to envision the things next to you and not just memorize the path. So, man, I tell you what, you're blowing my mind right now, seriously. And I'm from New Jersey, so I am one hell of a healthy, they say New York skeptic. It's the same thing, New Jersey, New York. I'm a healthy skeptic, but I'm amazed by this. And again, I know you, so I know that it is what it is. You're not. So I'm fascinated, to be honest with you. I've already got to go to Utah for some other things later on this year, as long as things open up the right way. I might have to come by and pay you a visit as well.
I would love to have you. I would love to have you. Yeah, you just let me know and we're there for you. Absolutely. And this is, when people go to our YouTube channel, you can see all kinds of different demonstrations there's cat videos and those are intriguing. This is a different kind of intriguing. For sure.
Fantastic. So did you, let me take a look here. I'm going to share a couple of your links. I'm going to share a couple of your links here with everyone. Do you have, can you send me the YouTube, the link to your YouTube channel?
I will. I'm going to do that right now. There we go.
You guys, I'm going to post here in the chat a couple of the links where you guys can find out more about, put it in the wrong place, about Vibravision. And learn a little bit more for yourself, just because I'm fascinated. I'm looking forward to going in and watching some of the videos that you guys put out as well. But learn more about maybe how you can get involved, how you can share this with other people, certainly people that are visually impaired. I think that this is as the saying goes, everybody wants you may not be able to save the world, but you can save one person.
That's right.
You may not be able to make a difference to everyone in the world, but if you make the difference, you can make the world of difference to one person, then it's priceless. So I'm certainly going to share this with all of my friends that are visually impaired. I mean, obviously you already shared with them as well, because we have a lot of those friends in common at this point. Mm-hmm. Again, that is where we met, right? We met at the Unblinded event. Right. So hold on a second. Let's see. Here we go.
Well, and it goes even beyond even just visual impairment. We want to really open this up for not just the blind community, but also the mind community. But just imagine if we had our Navy SEALs who knew this, or say some of our foreign operatives in the CIA or NSA, something like that, where they're able to have a greater intuitive sense and stay safer and do their job better, or just even the general infantry. What we do and strengthens people aerobically and anaerobically so much so quickly. There have been lots of tests with the Indonesian military showing performance and improvement that is incredible in a short amount of time. So we have a very wide market, and we'd even like to have the, I hate, well, sorry, Disney, the Jedi Ninja Warrior games. How cool would that be if people were running through all the obstacle courses and they were blindfolded to develop this? Because we do obstacle courses all the time with our people. They love playgrounds. It's pretty fascinating. So we have a pretty big market because every single human being has the ability to become more. And so many of us are now on this journey to become our best selves and understand ourselves truly, which 500 years ago, 200 years ago, if they talked about meditation or out-of-body experiences or remote viewing or anything like that, which now quantum physics is starting to catch up with this, I don't even know what they would have done to you. But now
in Massachusetts, they burn you at the stake.
There is that. Yes, there is that true. That's right, Salem,
right.
sir.
You're a witch.
Yeah.
Again, outside of the Asian countries where this has been, and where it's been common practice for centuries, and and thousands of years, whatever it is. You're right. If you went to any place in Europe or in the U.S. or anywhere else in the westernized society, you get frontal lobotomies and the like, right? No, seriously, that's the craziness of what would happen. And again, think about all the brilliant minds that actually have some of this stuff intuitively whose lives were ended prematurely because people didn't understand what it was. Because at the end of it, somebody came up with this, right? There was somebody that was brilliant enough to get to that place to discover this technology, right? Even though it's innate, it's inside of us. There had to be somebody that decided that they were going to meditate for 22 hours a day or whatever, and discovered all these little things. And then how many of those people did we lose because they were crazy, or because they were witches, or because they were whatever?
Right.
Look, and at the end of it, I say it all the time that there's no genius, there's no brilliant person that doesn't have a level of crazy in them.
It's a true story.
Right? Look at Albert Einstein. Guy was like whacked out. Yeah. And I would love to have, because he seemed like such a good, funny guy too, like a little crazy. Look at Steve Jobs. Mm-hmm. He had probably a little bit more than a healthy level of crazy, right? Hell, look, and for what it's worth, look at Zuckerberg. Yeah. He's crazy in his own way. But there's brilliance. There's brilliance in the insanity. It's in the insanity that we want to keep away. One of the things, I guess, I've been using this quote, and for whatever reason, for the last 3 days on my show, and here's the fourth time saying it. T.S. Eliot, a quote by T.S. Eliot: "Only those who dare to go too far will ever find out how far they can go."
That's right.
Right. So it's about pushing the envelope of what are the limitations of our own mind, of our own bodies, of what we think is true. So, man, I'll tell you, I guess that's why I've been using that phrase for the last 3 days, was because this is where it's going to fit in the best. And you're doing it, dude. Amazing. You're like a freaking Jedi. I didn't know that.
Well, but we're all just walking each other home, as the saying by Ram Dass goes. We're all just.
I love it, man. And again, that's what all this is, right? That's what. And I've been doing these shows, and I've been doing videos on Facebook for a long time, just sharing the knowledge that I've acquired along the way. A friend of mine I learned from a few years ago told me that he would tell all of his mentors, "Teach me everything, and I won't keep any of it." Right? Because I think it's our social responsibility to share what we learn. Because what's the point of you and your brother learning this really amazing stuff and keeping it to yourself?
Exactly.
It's cool. It becomes a parlor trick for more than anything else. Yeah, it's great for you, but for anybody watching, it's like, yeah, okay, it's magic, whatever. Or, it's an illusion. But the fact that you guys took this and ran with it is what makes you a leader, is what makes you a game changer. It's what makes you, that person in society that's going to say, damn, that guy made a difference.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're going to make the world of difference to one person, or hopefully thousands of people. But even if you did all this, and I say this about this show, if all of these shows that I've done, in today's episode 116, I think it is, if I did all of these shows and all it did was save one life, or change the trajectory of one life to go out and impact, because the reality is this, we're all impactors, right? We're all impactors, but it starts with us. And so many people, and again, this is something that I've been saying several times over the last couple of shows, and I say that, and this isn't me losing my mind, I swear, maybe I'm losing my mind a little bit, but that's not what this is. I think that some things are worth repeating, and because people need to hear it over and over again, because I know I've certainly needed to hear it.
Sure.
And every time I say it, it makes me more congruent, and it makes me more set on it. The reality of it is we're all impactors. But everybody that wants to be an impact, everybody that wants to change the world goes out and tries to change the world all at once. It's like going out and trying to eat that elephant all at once. They don't realize that that's not how it works. Yeah. And this is, again, perfect example. Holy cow. Talk about bringing together. You have to go through the individual moves and the blocks and understanding the energy and this. You have to go through one step at a time in order to get to where you needed to go. So if you're going to eat that elephant, it's one bite at a time. If you're going to learn Vibravision, it's that one step at a time. If you're going to make an impact in the world, it's one person at a time. It's you. It's the decisions that you make and the choices that you make and how you're going to handle things, how you're going to contribute to the world, how you're going to show up, how you're going to commit. How committed are you? And then it's about changing your family, and it's about changing your neighbors, or educating, not changing, but educating, or making a positive impact on your neighbors' lives and on your community, on your town, on your city, on your state. That's how you change the world, right? Because we're all impactors. So I say this all the time, everybody wants to be an impactor, but here's the thing, you don't have to be the person that impacts the world. Maybe you've just got to be the spark that lights that fire. Maybe you've got to be the person that impacts the person that's going to change the world. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a child that you're raising that's going to impact the world in a positive way. So we're all impactors, and I know I'm talking too much now, but the reality of it is you're an impactor. What you and your brother have done, honestly, I've got the chills. This is like amazing. Never mind how cool it is. I want to learn this stuff. I want to come and spend a couple of days with you guys. Because I'd love to learn this stuff, right? But forget me. All the people who've lost their sight fighting for this country, right? Here goes the hair on my arms up again. But the people that have fought for this country, the people that have had car accidents, the children that are born blind, listen, what are some of the most things that, and I swear that sometimes I feel like I'm just a hot mess. I'll like watch a video of a child that puts on glasses for the first time, and the reaction that they have, and the tears and the joy and the emotions, it makes me emotional, right? So that's what you're going to do to people, dude. I'm so freaking excited about this. I really am. Listen, whatever I can do, whatever contacts I can make, and whatever introductions I can make, rest assured, I'm going to make them, because this is amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. It's an honor to know you, and it's an honor to be here, and to be able to spread this message. 20 years of R&D to get to this point where we were really confident that, yes, we have the method. It's going to impact people in as short a period of time as possible. And now, I was just on a podcast yesterday with a world-renowned author and investigative reporter, and he said, in a fair world, this would be a Nobel Prize. Unfortunately, it's not a fair world. And right. I'm like, interesting. I had never actually.
Yeah, but here's it. It may not be a Nobel Prize right now.
Yeah.
But when you're able to impact and influence the right person, I guarantee you it's a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. Well,
because it's about the right people. It's not about the Nobel Prize, but the thing about the Nobel Prize is it'll absolutely catapult you into a new level of exposure and a new level of impact in the world.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's really what it's about. It's not about the title as much as it is about the impact. At least that's what I'm feeling from you. Right. I mean, I think I'm reading that right. And certainly that's what it is for the people that really want to make the impact. Because it's great to make a good living and to make money doing what you're doing, impacting the world in a positive way. But what's even greater is the impact that you can make in the lives that you can change.
You know,
right? There's only so many we can buy and houses you can buy and how many vacations you can take and whatever else. Some of the wealthiest people I know now spend their time making an impact, having the positive impact, because that's what their legacy is. And this for you, this is a legacy, dude. I'm excited for you. This is amazing, and I can't wait to share it with whoever I can.
Thank you. You know, I've got an interesting story about this as far as impacting one person, and this is one of our blind students, and I know that you know her. During her first 5-day immersion with us, she was up here with her husband, who's also one of our students. Her name was, I believe, on her second day. I think it was her second day, maybe her third day training with my brother. My brother, Mike, is the chief instructor for Vibravision and the Marpati Bhuti martial arts for all of North and South America. He has lived with the royal family, and they have trained him personally to carry this mantle for this side of the world. And she was sitting there crying. And I walked over to her and I asked her, what's wrong? My brother and I both came over, and what's wrong? And she said, I can see my hands. I can see my arms for the first time in, I think it was 7 or 8 years, maybe 10 years. I can see my hands. And she's been blind, like completely 100% blind for, well, now 10 years. And so we started holding up bean bags and asking her what colors they were, and she started getting them right. And that was just after 3 days. I think it was 3 days. So that is one of the moments, and I've had that experience, and I know my brother has, because he trains people. He trains almost everybody himself because he is the master. He is the master trainer. We get those experiences. And
Amazing.
what you're talking about is impacting one person. We've had that experience so many, literally thousands of times through our martial arts and meditation and Vibravision training. There's something about having a path with heart that no matter what you're facing gives you the passion. And I hope everybody out there has something in their life that does that for them, that they get up and no matter what, even if they're facing Mount Everest, they see themselves at the top and they put one foot in front of the other to reach that goal again as many times as they possibly can. That's what I do. That's what Mike does. That's what so many of us do. And that's what it means to get up and grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's not about how many times you fall.
Yeah.
It's about how many times you get up and keep going.
That's it.
You know, and this isn't ending the show quite yet, because this is the way I end the show. I literally say, you know, you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And it's in falling down that you learn. It's in getting up that you grow.
Yeah.
And every single one of us, with every fall that we take, we have the opportunity to get up and grow. That's literally the close of my show. Literally, like if I hung up now, that was the close. Okay. Right? So it really is. You're like, it's so funny how, this is how this all kind of came together. But that's exactly right, because it's not about how many times you fall. And think about it. If you're blind, forget, you know, the sighted person that's learning to do something new and how many times you fall, how many times you stub your toe and hit your head and skin your knee. Yeah. Think about how many more thousands of times someone that is blind does that. And they don't have the benefit of being able to see the smile of their baby's smile, or, you know, they can smell their rose and they can feel it, but they can't see it, or they can't, you know. So look, I mean, and what you're doing, again, this is magic. And the fact that you're able to, again, if you change, and here's the thing, changing the trajectory of someone's life, and I've been fortunate to be able to, I've been able to work with a lot of people that were suicidal, so that are still with us. And in one particular case, she felt bad about leaving her son behind, and she was going to take him with her. And I'm not going to go beyond that. And obviously, fortunately, that didn't happen because we were able to have an intervention. But to know that there's a whole lineage of people that can be changed. There's a whole lineage, and I say that because sometimes the people that go blind feel like they have no hope. I'd imagine that the suicide rate among blind people is obviously greater than much higher than average, right?
I'm not sure. Yeah,
I'm not sure either, but I had read a spec at some point. Certainly with people that recently, there's obviously a percentage, but if you can save a life, you can save a lineage, because again, it's about the impact. It's about the impact that we can all make, and it's about helping just one person at a time, and you're helping them by the thousands. So listen, I appreciate you, man. It should not have taken this long to have this conversation, for sure. But I look forward to seeing what you're doing, what you're continuing to do, how you continue to expand. So everyone that's watching, follow this man. It's Nate Zeleznick, and on Vibravision and the Vibravision Foundation. They're doing amazing things. I look forward to delving further into this, and at some point I will be in Utah at some point this year, so I'm definitely coming by to visit. But whatever you can do to support anyone that that's visually impaired, introduce them to this. Anyone that that works with people that are visually impaired, or anyone that you think this can help. Hey, listen, if there's anybody that that would love to be trained and do these things, whether it be wherever you think this could apply, share it. Share this video, share his website, and share the work that this man and his brother, and these two incredible guys, are doing in the world. So, brother, thank you for coming on. Any last words before I do close up the show?
My favorite quote of all time is that mankind's biggest limitation is believing that he is limited. So with that said, we are so much more than we believe we are. The only way you ever find out is by going and finding out. So all you got to do is look, ask, you'll receive. So Tony, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, brother. What a great time. And thank you so much for having me on, and all the synchronicities that had happened this morning for me to be on here today. Thank you to white-tailed deer. Thank you to mule deer. Inside joke, everybody. But there's a reason that I'm here, and wildlife helped facilitate this. So thank you to all the deer who helped. So thank you so much.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you again, thank you for being here. Now, when I turn it off, don't go away. Just stay on for a minute. Yeah, it is amazing. I think that to tie into your quote, one of the ones that I like to share a lot as well, I'm going to try, I haven't shared it in a while, so I'm going to see if I can get it right, is the greatest gift we've ever been given is the greatest gift we've ever been given is I don't want to screw this up, is not opportunity. Wow, I can't believe I'm screwing this up. It's been a long time since I've said this. I should have taken my focus factor this morning. It's possibility, basically.
Okay.
And that's not the right word. And the best thing we can do is tap into it and use it, right? And make a change that'll impact the world. So with that said, after screwing up that quote, I apologize. But anyway, remember, my friends, that it is in falling down that we learn, and getting up that we grow. You fall down 7 times, you get up 8, and every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow. and grow we must, because if we don't, we just keep tripping on something behind us and we keep on falling down the same place. So get up and grow, my friends. I appreciate you, Nate. I appreciate you being on here, and I hope this was as valuable and as interesting to everyone that's watching as it was to me. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Thanks, guys.